back to Power Panel 365. I'm your host, Star Coates, and tonight I'm going to be reading a story from the Children's Bible Storybook. The name of this story is a continuance from the crossing of the Red Sea, and another new story, the Israelites find food. And I hope that you are in bed, you're comfortable, you've brushed your teeth and washed your face. And even if you're not ready, I hope you get ready real soon. So I'm going to continue with the crossing of the Red Sea first. And then I'm going to continue into the Israelites find food. And the Egyptians, holding them from the Egyptians, so that they could not see what was happening. Moses stretched out his staff towards the sea, and a strong wind started to blow it, and blew it all night so hard it pushed back the seawater and made the seabed into dry land. The Israelites were able to walk across the seabed with high walls of water on either side of them. When the Egyptians saw the Israelites were escaping from them, they rushed after into the sea, and with their horses and chariots and their infantry and cavalry. But their chariots' wheels sank into the wet sand, and the horses and men were bogged down. God himself is fighting for Israel, the Egyptians cried. They looked around them, and what they saw was filled them with terror, and they were trapped between two great walls of water. Panic broke out. Soldiers threw down their weapons and tried to run for their lives, but their feet sank deeper and deeper into the sand. The horses reared in the chariots' shafts, whining and pounding there in the air. The commanders made one last effort. They ordered the men to return to their chariots and wrenched the wheels free, but it was no use. They could move neither forwards nor backwards. They were all stuck fast in the middle of the sea. Then God commanded Moses to stretch out his staff over the sea again, and the walls of the waters gave way. With a mighty roar, and sea waters swept over Pharaoh's army, over his chariots, and over his horses, so that every man and beast was drowned. When the Israelites saw such a great army destroyed, and all the bodies piled along the shore, they feared their God more than ever, and respected Moses, his servant, for they knew it was God who had saved the children of Israel from the power of Pharaoh. Then Miriam, the sister of Moses, and Aaron picked up their tambourine and began a dance of joy, and all the women followed their dancing in the sound of their tambourine and singing. Sing to the Lord, for he is triumphed. The horse and his rider are thrown into the sea. Sing to the Lord, for he is my refuge, my God and my strength. He shall always be. And the name of this story is called The Israelites Find Food. The people of Israel left the Red Sea and marched for 3 days into the wilderness, searching for the waters to drink. At last they came to a place where there were pools of standing water. Eagerly the people threw themselves down to drink from the pools, but the water was so bitter that they could not swallow it. Give us water, they begged Moses. Then God showed Moses a log, and when he threw it into the water, it became fresh and good, and the people drank it thankfully. It was there that God gave the people a rule for life. If you obey me, he told them through Moses, if you will listen to my commands and obey them, I will spare you the suffering I have heaped on the Egyptians. For I am a healer. The Israelites traveled on, but soon they ran out of food, and there was none to be found. The Israelites complained to Moses, if only we had stayed in Egypt. There was plenty to eat out there. We are going to starve to death. God said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven. Each day I want your people to go out and gather it. And all they need. People go out to gather all that they need for that day. In the 6th day I shall send twice as much on the other days, so that they can rest on the 7 days and still obey my commands. Then Moses and Aaron told the people, "You go soon, and sure it was God who brought you out of Egypt. Trust in him. He will give you meat to eat in the evening and bread in the morning." While they were speaking, the Israelites looked up and saw a great cloud of fire over the wilderness, which reassured them that God was present. That evening, the flock of quails grew over the camp and settled quickly that they covered the ground. The people killed them and had them as meat to eat. God had promised. In the morning, the dew lay quickly, and all the tents that were lifted were flakes that horn frosted over all the ground. "What is this?" wondered the people, asking Moses. "That is the bread God gives you," Moses replied. "You must collect as much as you can. Measure for each person in his tent, but no one must keep any until tomorrow." They did as this. And although some gathered more than others, were just right among each person, each to fill. Some of the Israelites did try to keep overnight, but it went bad and stank. And Moses was angry with them. On the 6th day they gathered twice as much as the other days, so they could rest on the 7th day. Some people did not go back for food on the 7th day, but they could not find any. Then God was angry. "I give you enough food for today because I want you to stay home," he said to them. "This is my special day and a day of rest." The Israelites called their new food manna. It was white and tasted like wafer made with honey. They were to eat it all the way to the promised land. I hope that you enjoyed this story. May the Lord bless you. May you rest well.